Good morning. Welcome to Tesla Stock News. My name is James Barber, brought to you by Oregon Cash Flow Pro, helping you maximize your cash flow. Good morning, everybody. We're finally back. That was a long weekend. So, the thumbnail today is the infinity squeeze over. Last week, well, a few weeks ago, we talked about the infinity squeeze that was happening, where the benchmark funds had to continue buying in after the S&P 500 in order to not lose position, in order to not lose delta against the S&P 500. The assumption was Tesla was going to drop after the S&P 500 inclusion, and funds that wanted to get in would have gotten in then. And then suddenly Tesla didn't drop. It started to climb, and it started to climb, and we started that 10-day streak or 11-day streak of gains. And so they didn't have the opportunity to get in before the price went above 695, which the S&P needed, or which the S&P got in at. So they're losing delta, all these funds that are benchmarked against it, unless they're making up for it somewhere else. They could always make up that delta somewhere else. But that's a large float, 1.6, 1.7, 1.8%. So what we saw was a lot of folks buying into it. We know that some retirement funds bought into it now. There was a couple of retirement funds that got into it in Q4. We haven't heard if they got out of it. Maybe they just got into it for a short period of time. But that was part of the infinity squeeze. And we saw steady growth, up, 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 up. And then all last week, we saw it come down, down, down. Now, there was a lot of unrest in the overall market. It's always hard to fight against the market. And I know it always feels, if we're just watching this one stock, it always feels like something's wrong with Tesla. What's going on with Tesla? We did see a reduction in volume this last week. So that's kind of an indication that maybe some of those benchmark funds are done buying in which case it's going to be up to day traders, retailers, in order to decide if Tesla's at a price they're willing to still get in at. So something to watch out for. I know there's a lot of people still excited about it, a lot of people just getting exposed to Tesla. We do have a positive earnings event coming up, but we're not seeing the typical run-up to that earnings event that we're used to. We're used to seeing gains immediately and a 3 to 7% rise in the stock price upon earnings announcement until the actual earnings date. We have yet to see that. We've just been in a steady decline. So that could indicate that we're already in an overbought territory. There's been enough purchases over the last couple of weeks that we're at a comfortable place. People may feel like the earnings may already be built into the price. It'll be interesting to see how it goes this week. Now, it's always, I find it funny that when we're on an upswing, it always feels like we can keep going up. And we're on a downswing, it always feels like we could just keep going down. So it's interesting identifying and trying to deal with those types of emotions when we're always trying to decide what is going to happen coming up. So Tesla right now, we've got 24 minutes till market open. It was a long weekend. And Tesla went up to, let's see, we ended the week last week at 826. We gapped up this week to start the week. We hit 844 in the pre-market. And as soon as Robinhood got on, as soon as the Robinhood crowd came on a few minutes ago, it went down from 840 down to 836 with a lot more buying. So a lot of people were willing to make some purchases or make some sales, seeing that it had gone up in the pre-market. There's a lot of uncertainty around what's going to happen tomorrow. We've got the inauguration, Joe Biden's inauguration, and there's a lot of unrest around the country still, right? It seemed to have been tampered down a little bit. I didn't hear a whole lot over the weekend, as we might expect, but you never know. All of the National Guard are out and on alert, So if things stay peaceful, we might see an okay week. We might get back into the people might be willing to put their money back into the market. I think that the uncertainty around that could be causing some hesitation, could be causing some reduction in people willing to put their money in an uncertain market. So it'll be interesting to see how we react to that. In other news, CCIV came out to address the rumor about a merger with Lucid Air, which came out last week, had a lot of hype around it. Kramer jumped on board and said, hey, it might be worth the risk to jump into CCIV. CCIV's price was up all morning until about 20 minutes ago. Lucid came out with a statement, and basically they just said they're not going to address rumors. So on that shocking news that they're not going to address the rumor, CCIV has been selling down 3% since that rumor. Actually, probably down a little bit more since that rumor. It was up quite a bit in the pre-market. So I find that pretty interesting. They didn't confirm or deny it. The indications that I'm seeing out there seem to point toward the merger being a thing. Waka Waka pointed out Google, what was it he wanted us to Google? Google the merger, CCIV or Lucid Air, in Saudi Arabia a few weeks or a month before this rumor began. And CCIV had a lot of buzz around it. So I didn't get a chance to Google it. Northwest Pearl says Google Trends. Okay, thank you. So check Google Trends for the CCIV and Lucid merger, and there was a lot of activity around this a month before this rumor started circulating here in the U.S. While Lucid Air, its biggest backers are Saudi Arabia. So pretty interesting, and it does tend to indicate that there's a lot of buzz around this merger, not just here in the U.S., but the rumor here in the U.S. is relatively recent. Whereas in Saudi Arabia, where all the funding is coming from for Lucid Air, started a long time ago. So kind of interesting. Take of that what you will. I'm holding on to a few shares of that. I think I'll just keep holding on to them. I think it's worth it to get a shot at Lucid Air if that does come available. If that rumor does solidify, it'll probably be worth the risk here. If it doesn't, it'll probably drop from $18 down to $10. Maybe somewhere around there. Hard to say. So good luck out there in the market. What do you guys think is going to happen today? Tesla Model Ys in China started to be delivered this last weekend. A lot of Model Ys being delivered. There's a lot of demand going on. That's big news. Going to help with anticipated delivery numbers for 2021. Rumors of the S and X, Model S and X refresh, continue to accelerate, you should say. People are getting a lot more excited. We're hearing what I'm hearing from somebody on Twitter who's hearing from people in the actual service centers, Tesla service centers, is that yes, Model S and X are getting the refresh, and the S refresh is going to be coming out when they open up this week or end of the month, and the X will be in March. And I think we're all hoping to hear something on the earnings report. So it seems like Elon has shifted strategies and realized that when it comes to stock prices and Wall Street, in the early stage, he used to spend a lot of time giving rosy forecasts, really aggressive timelines on how quickly things are going to roll out. Well, maybe that's just for a young company. Maybe that works good. Now that the company is maturing, he seems to be sandbagging these things a bit, which tends to help out and surprise the stock market, leading to increases in the stock price. So it makes it kind of fun. And the thought is that a lot of the stuff that he was talking about on Battery Day, they are a lot further ahead than it was indicated, or then you would have been led to believe based on the talks around Battery Day. Same thing with the SNX refresh coming up. So we look forward to hearing a few things. Also with the Model 2 rumor, of course. But we're looking forward to hearing some things at that Q4 earnings. I have set aside my schedule for that day, so we're gonna live stream it, and we're gonna probably go most of the day on the 27th. So let's shift over to our stock news. Thank you everybody for joining us today. Let me know what you think. What did you do over the weekend to entertain yourself? I decided to lose a few bucks trying to trade crypto. Got a little frustrated there. Meanwhile, Ethereum took off last night. And up to, if it didn't, make an all-time high. So it went over 1,400 bucks. So let's shift over to the stock market. Now go maximize your cash flow.